Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Jared Powley's Fragrance Reviews. Tonight we're going to be looking at a classic fragrance from the house of Issey Miyake. This is known as EDT pour Homme, which came out in 1994. This is an EDT eau de toilette concentration, and it is classified as a woody aromatic scent. So this fragrance right here is a legendary classic, and for me, this is one fragrance that I have maybe worn, is maybe in my top 3 or 4 for my most worn fragrances. I went through several bottles in the 90s, early 2000s, and several years ago I had a bottle with a little bit left, but I actually just threw it out. This is before I started making YouTube videos, so that would have been an original formulation. I remember buying it in 1994, and it was one that was very appealing to many people. I love the smell of it. The ladies love the smell of it. Everyone around me loved the smell of it. So the new formulation here, I would say, has more of a synthetic smell. But when I sprayed it for the first time in maybe 20 years, it brought back a torrent of memories from that part of my life. So it would have been my late high school years till my late teens, early 20s, and those are some very great memories indeed. As a whole, the house of Issey Miyake is a spectacular house with many fine fragrances worth exploring. They put in great effort and creativity into their composition. So if you're looking for something a little bit more offbeat or unusual, you may want to explore some of the fragrance from Issey Miyake because they have some dynamite scents indeed. So here's the bottle. The bottle is pretty much the same from the 1994 release, just the letters are a little bit different. It's got the frosted glass. Pretty simple bottle, so give it a spray in the back of my wrist. So initially, you get this sweet citrus, which some people think, well, it kind of has a bit of like a wet nap smell to it, but I disagree. It's lemony, but quickly it becomes a little bit funky, a little bit bitter, and even a little bit sour. Maybe 10-15 minutes later, you get some light, kind of white floral notes. The first dry down is where I think the fragrance maybe takes a little bit of a turn for the, not the worst, but a lesser turn. So it becomes a little bit sweet, herbish. The dry down kind of has a little bit of a sour stink, but that only lasts for maybe about a half hour, 45 minutes. The later dry down is fantastic. And this is where the fragrance is at its best and makes its strongest impact. It's still, the slight sweet citrus is renewed. It's smooth. It's a little bit woody. It's got this kind of grassy dewiness to it. So that's the highlight of the fragrance, is the late dry down. And that's what you ultimately want in the fragrance. Not the initial spray, not the first dry down. You want the late dry down. That is of paramount concern because that's what you're going to be smelling and wearing. So as advertised, these are the original notes, and there are many of them. The top notes are yuzu, lemon bergamot, lemon verbena, mandarin, cypress, cologne, coriander, tarragon, and sage. The mid notes are blue lotus, nutmeg, lily of the valley, bourbon geranium, saffron, Ceylon, cinnamon, and mignonette. The base notes are Tahitian vetiver, musk, cedar, sandalwood, amber, and tobacco. So there's many notes in this fragrance, but I would say the amount of notes don't necessarily make this that complex of a fragrance. It's pretty linear, pretty straightforward, but it's a gorgeous scent that gets the job done. Performance on this bottle is decent. Okay, nothing to write home about. About 2 to 3 hours push. The original formulation was much heavier, much more body, greater density by a long shot. I still consider this a very sexy, pleasant fragrance with great wafts and scent bubbles. It's not ultra masculine, but it does have a slight masculine vibe to it. It's very wearable. And I wouldn't say it's conservative because it does have some distinguishing characteristics, but it's something that's not really going to offend people or become obnoxious either to you or the people around you. Down part of this fragrance is that it is a little more synthetic smelling than the original. Final thoughts on this. This is a definite timeless classic that will be forever burned in my memory. I couldn't believe it was over 20 years or even longer since I had tried it. And again, this is not the original, but It still has the original DNA in it, and it was a pleasure to wear. And again, the original was no doubt more beastly in its performance and in its opacity, but this one will still give you the original DNA and a blast from the past. Again, try before you buy. And the only other thing I would say is Issey Miyake, like I said, has some great fragrances. This is definitely a house you want to check out if you're looking for something more unusual from what's out there right now. So if you like this video, hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. Any comments or questions you have on this legendary fragrance from the house of Issey Miyake, leave them down below and I'll always get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.